Still, you've got the Ella distracted, and this is a pinch that's coming in. Can the Ella do anything with it? Uno 1 onto Magnet. This is still match point. Lusty knows he's in trouble. You let that Monty get too close, and you're dead meat. Kanto comes around. He might be able to pry in, and yes, there we go. He gets Lusty out of action, and G2 now.
Let's talk about the most fun operator to play against, which is definitely Montagne. Montagne is a force that, if played well, is going to be a huge nightmare to deal with. The thing about Monty mains is that, or any other shield, your team also needs to know how to play around you. And that is the reason why it is tricky to play with operators like Lash or Monty. Even if you do everything perfectly, but your teammates doesn't know how to play around you, you cannot do anything. Shield operators are true team-based operators. They can hardly do anything alone unless 1 versus 1. With having said this, timestamps are available, as we always start with very basics and end up to more advanced things. Montagne is a free armor 1-speed operator that brings a shield that is expendable to offer full protection in front, a bit of sideways, and top. For secondary options, you will generally hip fire, so taking bigger capacity over damage is preferable choice. You don't want to reload that much, but also you're hoping for the headshot when you crouch. Usually I don't talk about the attachments, because they are preference, but equip laser on the pistol. As we have mentioned, you will be hip firing when possible, so making hip fire 25% more consistent is just a benefit. You're allowed anyway, so the red dot won't give away your position. Smokes are considered better than hard breach, and if your team does not ask you what to bring, go for smokes. As previously mentioned, Montagne brings an indestructible, bulletproof shield that reduces the explosive damage by a lot, as well as to anyone behind him. To take the least damage of an explosive, make sure to face the start point of an explosion with a shield. A way to try to kill Monty as a defender is to throw a C4 over him, and if they somehow manage to do that, do not turn towards the C4. Go sideways and turn around the 90 degrees. So the explosive blast doesn't kill you, but also that your back is not fully exposed to the defender. Also, there is a big possibility that the C4 will be further away from you. Generally speaking, if you were put in a such situation, you probably played something very poorly with the Montagne. But it's also good to know if things like this happen. Explosives can put your shield on side as well as melee, so whenever you're going to be meleeed, make sure to turn around 90 degrees to the right facing round. This way you'll be the most safest on the melee, just how Pengu will do in the following clip. Monty is an operator that enables crossfires in every single situation because he can safely go from one to another end of the room. Let's take a look at the following clip and notice how Monty was not fully shielded even if near the defender.
Still, you've got the Ella distracted, and this is a pinch that's coming in. Can the Ella do anything with it? Uno 1 onto Magnet. This is still match point. Lusty knows he's in trouble. You let that Monty get too close, and you're dead meat. Kanto comes around. He might be able to pry in, and yes, there we go. He gets Lusty out of action.
There are several things that happen in this clip, and all that I will describe is very important to see the full picture of Monty. Zofia was by the Salibi, IQ was by the brown stairs, and Monty was close but far enough to Ella. The freezer wall was open like this. Imagine if there were no Monty. This means that Ella, with the help of anyone around the freezer, will be able to form crossfires onto Zofia, making her useless to this kind of a push. Pushing through the hallway generally will be a suicidal mission in this situation. Next thing you can see is IQ holding bar's angle, so no one can wide pick Zofia from that area. So, Monty is playing with Ella, IQ is holding bar, Zofia needs to worry only about one angle, which is freezer, and that allows her to get all the way to Ella to kill her. And now, let me speak the obvious, what everyone had seen. Monty was on the other side of Zofia, making Ella a free kill to Zofia, as Ella has to worry about Monty unshielding and Zofia pushing on her back. But understanding the story what happened before is very mandatory because that is the meaning of your team needs to know how to play around you. So, how do we make crossfires in Monty? It is very simple. Move your way from the entrance of the room to the other corner, if possible, and be worried about C4s from below. Having said this, I have used this example in one of my previous videos. If there's a defender in the back, which is a power position on Shell 11 defending bedroom and office, all that you have to do is to go from the top solar towards the corner of the toilet, and then the attacker can push whenever the defender is occupied with Monty. If he isn't, just unshield, crouch, and heap fire. That will bring the needing attention. If you remember the IQ position on Cafe, the IQ spot can be by the bedroom's window in this case. One more example of the passive angles, but I'm going to use this more to talk about the C4 traps. Sometimes killing out roamers is hard, or you just don't want to do it. Therefore, baiting C4s that are pre-placed below is pretty easy with Monty, if we will go back to Cafe and to push anyone by pixel. Before you step to the piano, go a little bit back to the shop, because if there's a C4 underneath, they will need to activate it in advance. And basically they will miss you because you were first going towards piano, you have stopped, and then you pushed back. To deal with the C4s, it will be pretty easy to manipulate defenders activating it too early. Hang and drone underneath always helps. We'll talk about this more later, with the pro clips. Aside from crossfires, Monty enables you to just get the control. Let's take a look on one of the Oregon's clips. The only issue from the attackers will be that no one will be watching Shaiko's door.
Admittedly, maybe not on the primary entry role, and is always an ideal target to bring down, given he has frags and the destruction ability from above. Here on this site, not really anything that the Sludge can do. I think it's much more about the grenades. Pengu doing what Pengu does best and doing the tango, dancing around with the maestro, not quite winning it out yet, tries to go for the down and will find it. 2 kills fly the way of G.
I would like to talk about 3 things that happen in this clip. Firstly, look what Monty did before start keep firing. He crouched and stopped moving. This is done so your hipfire spread is as minimal as possible. It is important to stop moving when hipfiring. The second thing is the way he positioned himself. He moved to the corner, so Marsha needs to worry about the bunker push, as well as Monty. And finally, Monty utilized that he generally should always be able to win melee fight, because even if you lose the melee fight, your shield will be pushed back. Then you have to turn 90 degrees bottom right. And then you have a second try. Monty can easily push Garage's catwalk on Clubhouse. He requires even less map control than the usual Garage take, but he can be countered somewhat easily, which we will talk about that later on. Do you want to push the defender deeper in the hallway on Chalet? Monty also can do that. Monty can also be greatly used against info denial operators such as the infamous but old SSG hold on Clubhouse or any other map. If you're having issues with keeping your drones alive as a team, consider bringing in Monty slightly a bit more, because Monty is a live drone that cannot be shot that easily. A deadly combo with Monty is anyone ranged self-destruction such as Ash, Zofia, Bug, Sledge, or even Jackal, because the ranged self-destruction will enable the easy crossfires through any soft walls, and Monty going through a doorway. Jackal, by tracing roamers, guarantees 2 things. Either the roamer will be an anchor now, or he will get killed due to Monty and Jackal and the rest of the team's crossfires. This is all great, but Monty has its downside, and let's see the counters. The biggest counter to Monty, aside from the C4s, are the following. Any trap operators, and especially Ella, which will knock your shield, as if you were mullet. Goo, where you will have to back safely in order to retreat, taking a good 10 to 20 damage per mine. Goo mines are especially annoying on the Clubhouse's garage. Then, being blasted by a yokai drone will also make you vulnerable, similarly as if you were mullet. Frost traps cannot be passed by, so if you're deep into hallways as an Oregon just by the tarps, you aren't pushing anything deeper than the upper attic, and since you cannot push deeper, you cannot establish the needing crossfires against the tarps player. Flash and impacts can also put your shield aside. These are pretty much all the counters that you need to worry about. And as quick as possible your team needs to find what you're dealing against. Knowing that there is just one C4 or that there is a legion is important as Monty. When your primary tool is literally to observe, it is not going to be hard to find the goo mines or yokai drones on the ceiling. Let's take a look at a clubhouse's clip and notice bug dropping in blue.
In the first round, there's the drop from Psycho. He's going to move in, start taking control of the arsenal. He's not alone. More support going to be working its way out from the tunnel, trying to spam, and he does have support from Julio. The Montagne's still alive, but trades are going back and forth. Kamikaze, in the meanwhile, looking to put down the plant, and Julio stops the pivotal rotate. Smoke gas grenade going to implode, but it won't even matter. NIP has two...
During the entire push, Hibana was planting. That means Monty and the rest of the crew need to occupy defenders somehow. Buck dropping down was just to confirm the kill in the box, as that's the last player in Arsenal. Also, you could have noticed how Monty was a bit more aggressive, that even if the defender was aiming at him, Monty crouched and hip-fired the guy. This was timed perfectly with Buck, that got killed from Vigil, but luckily was retraded. The last kill was unneeding aggression from Monty. All that Monty had to do is block of Arsenal door, and the round will be won. An important note to take from this clip was, this clip was an example of more aggressive Monty, which is totally fine to do as long as you pair that aggression with a teammate. The next clip will be just a picture, taken from one of the Reaper's video. When I was mentioning how Monty can be just picked just to push an area that is considered as hard or difficult to push as an attacker. This is how you do it on Cafe's white hallway. You have someone rappelling upside down on the white window the moment Monty is pushing his way through. The rest of the team can easily push from bar's side due to Monty doing pressure from the white hallway. A similar but reverse situation will happen in the next clip. And notice how Ash pushed Hell to have a crossfire on Cocktail with Monty, and the moment she steps in, the third floor control will be granted.
Left on the clock and not a lot of map control taken by G2 yet. Still a full top floor control by Na'Vi. They can rotate down at any moment. We'll see Pengu moving on up. Citizen will jump over onto Heaven, take out Panics, and that's a really good pick. They need to rotate back to site now.
And two more small things. If you're in a 1 versus 1 situation and afraid of being meleeed, stick by one wall so they can only go for the other side. Similarly as will Pengu do in the following clip.
Oh, you shot yourself.
He's playing the best Monty player, bro. Why would he... Oh, this is so unlucky for him.
We should be fine here. Should be fine.
And last but not least, to all those saying Monty should not be planting. Monty is usually that one is planting backwards. You will hear in the following video Monty trying to play by dragging to front entrance.
Let's go, boys. Good shit.
I'm gonna walk in backwards here. I'm getting spotted.
Muzzy, bottom yellow, 1 HP.
I'm planting here.
I'm watching it.
Front dead.
Nice.
Last one,
Split. I'm sticking, boys.
I have an head. You can head.
Let me plant first. What's that? Thank you.